We'll start with Mangalacharan, but before that, I just want to thank for inviting me. Pankajanghri Prabhu left us unexpected. We were hoping that he will make it through this crisis, but Krishna had some other plan, especially Lord Nrsingadev. So the outcome was little different from what we were hoping, but nevertheless, Krishna has his plan, so we accept in the end whatever Krishna decides. So Prabhupada said that when a Vaishnava leaves, especially someone like Pankajangri Prabhu, for that matter, any Vaishnava, if they leave, there must be Smriti Sabha, they must be glorified, there must be prasad distributed, and like that, they should be given a proper farewell. And it applies even more so for Pankajangri Prabhu. So, with that, I think we'll start. So, we'll start with Mangalacharan, and then after that, I have a video to show where he himself is saying how he came to Krishna consciousness. I think it'll be good to watch that video together. Some of you may have seen it, but nevertheless, it's more pertinent now because he has just left, so we can see how he came to Krishna consciousness. But first, we'll start with Mangalacharan. Om Jnana Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikalanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Nusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langate girim yat kripatamam bande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So I was saying that I was going to show a video, but before I show the video, let me give a quick introduction about who Pankajangri Prabhu is, because not everybody on the call may know him or may know like details about him. That's one thing. And even if you know, I think it's good to hear again, because for someone like him, the more we hear, the better it is for us. So, Prabhupada started the ISKCON society in 1965, single-handed at the age of 70. We all know he went to America, and then within a span of 11 years, he started whole society. And he said many times that all these devotees, they came so quickly, they joined him, and they quickly helped him establish the worldwide movement in the span of 11 years. So Prabhupada said that these devotees have been sent to me by my Guru Maharaj to help me. These were devotees from the past, and they have come again to help me. And there are many devotees like that who came to help. For some devotees, Prabhupada said, in the previous life, you were born in India. In this life, you are born in the Western world, just so that you can help me, because the Krishna consciousness needs to go to West. In case of these two brothers, Jananivas and Pankajangri Prabhu, these are twin brothers who were born in UK. You will see in the video, I'll show you, they are giving their own introduction. They are born in North London. They were looking for spirituality. Jananivas Prabhu is older and Pankajangri Prabhu is younger, but they are twins born at the same time. So just a matter of seconds, the differences of the age. And they are identical twins. Sometimes it's difficult to tell who's who unless you know them quite well. Then you can tell slight differences are there. But otherwise, it's easy to get confused. They look exactly the same, almost the same. So then Jananivas Prabhu came to India looking for a guru, and then he met Prabhupada, and then he joined. He met devotees in Jagannath Puri, and then he met Prabhupada, and then he joined in Mayapur. His younger brother, Pankajangri Prabhu, was in touch with him. He also came with him to India, but then he decided to go back, and then later he came back again, and those details he will himself share. Prabhupada, after they joined the temple, Prabhupada said that these pujaris, there's no complaint about them. They are just perfect. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was saying they both seem like they are just devotees who came out of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because when we hear Lord Chaitanya's pastimes with his devotees in Mayapur and more so later in Jagannath Puri, in Mayapur, Lord Chaitanya was for some part in the scholastic pastimes and later was devotional pastimes, but that was very short period. And the longer, much longer period was in Jagannath Puri. And there, his dealings with the devotees, you can see they're so exemplary. And devotees were commenting, especially Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was commenting that these two brothers, they just seem like they came out of the book Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Prabhupada said, oh yes, they were devotees in the past and they have come to help me. Because when they came to Mayapur, and after that, soon after, or right before, around that time, Radha Madhav deities came. And as soon as Radha Madhav deities came, they were entitled the worship of those deities. Jananivas Prabhu was, and Pankajangri Prabhu was helping. And later, Pankajangri Prabhu was taking care of the Prabhupada Samadhi, and then Narsingadev came, and then he became the head pujari of the Narsingadev. So he's been serving in ISKCON for 48 years now. And after 48 years of service, Krishna called him back either for some assignment somewhere else or to be back with him within his pastimes, however Krishna desires. But presence of such a devotee in this world is very rare. I mean, even if you just look in terms of the qualities, even if someone is not a devotee, you would not find a person who would born and raised in the Western world, goes to India, and for rest 50 years of his life, he serves the lordships with so much devotion that actually they become the example of what a pujari should be or what a deity worship standard should be. So these souls, these devotees are very rare. And it will not be an overstatement to say that we are extremely fortunate that we saw them few times, we interacted with them few times. Personally, for me, I spoke to him few times, and the advice he gave me is still very relevant today. Maybe later I'll share. But there are many things about them, many qualities about them, which when we see, then we know what we should be like. Because it's one thing to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam in theory, but to see it practically day to day, how does a person, like, the Bhagavad Gita says, and Arjuna was asking, how does he sit? How does he stand? What are the symptoms of someone who's liberated? How does he sit? How does he stand? How does he talk? How does he walk? He was just asking very basic questions that how should I know what a devotee is? So when devotees like Jananivas and Pankajagri Prabhu come within us, then we can just look at them in the morning, in the noon, in the evening, see what time they are in, see what time they are out, see what they are doing while they are there, just to get a sense of what an ideal behavior is, so that we can see from their presence with us. So with that, that's just a brief introduction about who they are. And it's very sad that Pankajangri Prabhu left uh, just when he was getting better in Mayapur, before he went to Calcutta. Jananivas Prabhu said that now Bengali New Year is starting, then he's getting better, so it'll be a happy New Year. That's the comment he made because he was getting better, but somehow Krishna had some other plans. So he got better, but then he got worse, and then eventually he wanted to be brought back to Mayapur. And then in Mayapur, it was getting worse. Then they gave him the option of being on ventilator. He said no, he doesn't want it. He wants to be conscious. And then that was his choice. And then with his choice, he actually decided to leave. So that's in brief about their presence amongst us. So with that, I will just share this video. I think it will be very inspiring to hear from them directly, how they came. And then after that, we can discuss a little more. So let me share my screen with you. I want to see that I have the right screen. Okay, here. And I like to make it a full screen. This is an advertisement, so let's just quickly skip through it.
Hi there, welcome to Forward. Come on in. I'm Dr. Nate Favini. Hare Krishna.
So before we start, can you all hear it well? The audio?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I will start. My wife also wants to watch, so we'll just have a little tilted screen, but we'll watch it all together. Okay. So we'll start now.
My name is Pankajanghri. I was born in England, North London, and the question is how we came to Krishna consciousness. The search began in the around the late 60s, 70s. There was actually a search of an alternative way of life with the young people of that particular time, and many people were looking to India. Indian music was fashionable. Indian clothes were fashionable in the West. So Jananivas, my brother, he had visited India briefly, and then when he came back, he told me how great India was, and we decided to go for a longer period for searching. And so we went overland to India. It took us a few months. We weren't in a hurry, and we traveled around most of India, actually all of India, searching for the truth, peace, God, whatever we call it, right? Jananivas met the devotees in India, in Puri. We knew Hare Krishna because Hare Krishna was a fashionable song at that time. And we had actually first saw the devotees performing live in an all-night club in London's West End. But Jananivas met them and asked them about their philosophy and so he went to Calcutta to take some books on the ashram. And I was waiting for him. We weren't together at a particular time. I was waiting for him in Banaras. And we were staying in one acquaintance's house there. So then I came in the room one day and I saw one sadhu there with shaven head and saffron. He had his back to me, so I couldn't recognize him. And then I was thinking, what is a sadhu doing in our room? So then he turned around and I said, it's Jananivas, Hari Bol. Was you Jananivas? I guess it was, he wearing saffron. So then he preached to me for a little bit, for about a week. He stayed there and then he went back to Calcutta. I couldn't understand very much, it was pretty dark. And I was also initiated with two other gurus, in India. And one was teaching a technique of meditating on your soul or light within. God is light. That was a common thing, to find the light within. When I returned to England after about almost 2 years in India, I found I'd changed quite a lot, and I didn't want to get back into that regular way of life. And so then I used to visit the temple. That time it was in London's West End in Bury Place. And I like the atmosphere there. I like the devotees. I like the prasadam. I like the Harinam, Sankirtan, singing, dancing on the street. I didn't really want to become a Hare Krishna. I didn't want to give my so-called independence. But as you know, everyone's looking for improvement in their life. Everyone's looking to improve their situation. Everyone's looking for happiness. So I saw that these devotees, they were actually happy, they're actually satisfied, which was like a rare commodity in human beings nowadays. And so that was.
There is a shortage of 500,000 machine learning and artificial intelligence professionals. Keeping this.
That was. I liked everything, but at the same time, I was a little still attached to my independence. Well, I met Srila Prabhupada there. He was giving a lecture in a public hall, and it's the first time, and he was reading from the Bhagavad Gita. So while he was reading, I saw something extraordinary. I saw this like a white light was coming from Prabhupada's eyes onto the book, just like pure white energy. And I was thinking, he's got it. He's got the light. That's what I want. He's got it. So I guess, and it happens to many devotees, whatever their goal is in life, their spiritual aspirations, Prabhupada will reveal it somehow or other. Consciously, whether I doubt anyone else saw it, and I don't think I was hallucinating, but that's what I actually saw. But I think that was just Krishna's way of telling me that you don't have to look anywhere else. You take shelter of Prabhupada, he'll give you a process that will take you to the topmost planet in the spiritual world. So whatever you want, you can take from this, because it will take you right to the very top of the center of existence. So whatever, if you want anything else on the way, you can also stop. So it's Krishna consciousness is complete. Is a very wholesome package. You can take whatever you want from it. And but anyway, that made me appreciate Prabhupada a lot more. Just that short vision. So I'm still unwilling to surrender, but I used to visit the temple frequently and stay over the weekend occasionally. And one day I had a couple of experiences I had. One was I was with my friends, and we were just sitting around, and I was looking at everyone, just one by one. I was looking at everyone, and I thought, hey, I'm different now. I'm different from these people. I don't want to do what they do, and partying and intoxicate, whatever we were doing before. And I felt myself quite apparently that I've outgrown this kind of life. And I put that down to actually getting a higher taste by associating with the devotees. I was chanting Hare Krishna. I used to keep my bead bag and beads in my pocket because I was a little embarrassed to chant publicly. And offering my food. I was already vegetarian by that time. And by association with devotees, then what we get the higher taste, a better standard of existence, which everyone's looking for that, peace and happiness. Still I was reluctant. Then I had a very, very vivid dream that Jananamas and I, we were traveling across this very arid land. And we had one guide, which was Prabhupada. Of course, we weren't initiated him. I mean, Tim's wasn't initiated. And this, the guy didn't look like Prabhupada, but in the dream, it was appearing to me that it was. So we came across this stream, small river. It wasn't very wide, about 20 feet wide. So he said, I'm taking your brother on my back, I'm taking him across, and I'll come and carry you across. So Chilana must get somebody back, and he's taking across. It wasn't even very deep. So he's halfway across, and I said, listen, I don't need you to carry me. I can swim across easy, nothing. He said, no, you wait there, I'll come and bring you. I said, come, you're an old man. I said, I'm a young man. If I dive in the water, I can come up and touch the other side. It's really no problem. He said, no, you stay, I'll carry you across. I said, no, don't bother yourself. So then I dove in the water. I came up in the middle, and I started swimming. And I couldn't move. I couldn't get there. And I started, what's going on here? I really started to panic a little bit. So I was really going for it, really swimming. I just couldn't move. So I thought, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. So I turned around to come back, and I couldn't get back, couldn't swim back. Then the current was taking me away. And then I woke up. And then I had a realization, you actually need help. You need someone to actually carry. It's not by our own endeavor we're going to do it. We have to have you've got to get help from someone who's already outside. So that was one of the big turning point that I've got to actually surrender, so-called surrender. So then it was just a natural progression. I found myself visiting, associating with the devotees more frequently, and then I was associating, staying in the temple more than I was at home. It was just like a gradual transition like that, because the devotees were always encouraging me in every way. So then I just more or less phased into it. It was a period of about 18 months before I actually moved into the temple. And that was in 1973. Then I was initiated there in the temple. That was they got a new temple outside London, which.
Hello, Regis. Jina langu ni Rose Wilson. Niko na miaka
George Harrison donated a manor house, and we moved in there when we got that place. Then after about 6-9 months, and then I came back to India, came back to Mayapur, and I've been there ever since, and living happily ever after. Hare Krishna.
Please start.
Before and after. Well, before I thought I was doing okay in the material world, and I thought the Hare Krishnas were a bit negative. They were saying the material world is a place of suffering, and I thought, hey, life's okay. I'm doing okay. I thought I was enjoying pretty well. We had it. We were 25, 26 years old, and in London. It's a cool place to enjoy. And I thought life was okay. And it took me about 25, 30 years to realize what life's what actually living in this body is like. The transformation from before and after is very, very subtle. You can't immediately appreciate it. It's like, living in a place and there's a tree growing in the garden. You don't really notice how the tree is growing. Or you don't see your hair growing or your fingernails growing, but after 2 weeks, you've got to cut your fingernail, but you don't actually directly perceive any growth. So I find the best measure, because I don't feel I've changed so much. I liked the lifestyle, because when we joined, it was very austere, but it was very exciting also, because it was a missionary. A mission at that time, and there was a whole world. It was a new thing for the West anyway. So it was exciting, and everyone's into the mission. Everyone was completely surrendered. So it was austere, but it was fun also. And that was part of it. The austerity was part of the fun at that time because everyone was young. And but changing generally characters, they don't change very much. Personalities, they don't change hardly. They very gradually change. People don't change, but that's my experience. And but the difference becomes very apparent if I go back now, because the first time I left Mayapur was like after 15 years straight. So none of us like 40 years straight. He never left Mayapur. So when I go back, if I have to go back to get a visa, etc. So I go back to, and then I visit my family and things like that. But if I go back to those old haunts where I was, and I see the people, I think, my God, I was living like this. It's so boring. There's no rasa there. There's really nothing happening. It's so dry. I mean, you put on a show that you're sociable and things like that, but it's actually you're actually glad when the time's over and you can actually live, because there's no offense. I mean, I love my family, but it's so dry. There's no substance in the life. You see, there's no direction, and it's just one TV shows, the kid playing to the next cup of tea, to they just got to fill in that gap, and this is a prime time. So it's really quite dry compared with the life of devotions. But you think, wow, man, I was like this at one time, and you can't imagine. So then you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Forward. We are a new kind of doctor's office that's doing primary care differently.
You realize how much you've actually changed. Is it not damaged? When you tell them about when you left, because everyone was saying you're already in for a culture shock when you leave, because he hadn't been to the West for 40 years. But he went last year. Did you have a culture shock? Not with the devotees. Because we were going from temple to temple, so it was like I mean, practically everyone's been to Mayapur, the devotees. So I've seen everyone, if I don't know them, at least. But I was quite happy actually that I'd been hearing, in America that temples were empty and no one's in. I mean, many temples won't full up, but there's thousands and thousands of congregational members now. So many programs, outreach programs. I was very much impressed with the Krishna consciousness in America. The culture shock. I was thinking, God, how can these people ever become detached in America? They're walking around with little tiny shorts on. There's a fashion, I guess, short shorts. And how are men ever going to? How renunciation would ever set in this environment? Every day you see ladies walking around half dressed all day. But so actually Krishna consciousness is the only solution for everyone. But the philosophical aspect I accepted immediately. They preached to me and I read some questions I had, because I was reading Bhagavad Gita, not Prabhupada Gita. And I had questions, but when all those questions were answered so perfectly, and everything coincided with my own realizations at that time. It was just completion of unanswered questions, everything that made sense in Krishna consciousness, with Krishna as a person. So I immediately accepted the philosophy. So when I eventually got the opportunity to become a devotee, I was quite happy. This is everything I was looking for. So. And Krishna consciousness is such a nice program with the process of devotional service. It's something active. It's not like my ideal spiritual life was Himalayas or Rishikesh, these quiet places and things like that. But he active. I mean, like we're constructing a city in Mayapur, so it's kind of it's really, really basic activities. So, and you can also engage others in these activities. So, by doing this, like developing Mayapur, for instance, where we're saying we're developing the Mayapur, it's the best thing for our spiritual advancement. Simultaneously, it's the best thing for other spiritual advancement. As the Dharma develops, more people come, they take the darshan, they just KathAmrutha voice, they hear the holy name. So it's such a nice process because it's the best thing that we can do, and simultaneously it's benefiting so many other people. Whereas if you just go sit down alone and do some meditation or something, you get a little bit benefit for yourself, but not much for anyone else. So Krishna consciousness is so complete.
There's a pattern to genius. There's a method behind the magic. I always tell people.
It's so absolute. No, I immediately accepted it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sripad Jananivas Prabhu ki jai. Sripad Pankajanghri Prabhu ki jai. So I hope you were able to hear those details. I hope the voice was clear, but he was saying a lot of things which we can relate to. And also we see the aspect in their life that actually those who are pure devotees, they sometimes, or a lot of times, they will act as if they are ordinary people. Like he was saying that London life was nice, right? He was 25 years old. Life in London was good. It was cool. And there was no need for a spiritual life for him. But then later he realized that actually he needed spiritual life. Simple things like that when he says, it makes it sound very ordinary. But when we see what he has done in his life, then we can see that it is actually not ordinary. So there are a few things about his life I would highlight, but since we have many senior devotees here, we can also make it a Smriti Sabha where I think we all should speak, at least those who have experience with him. I think it'll be good because like I was saying earlier, Smriti Sabha means we speak about the person who's departed. So I'll highlight a few things about him, and after that, we'll just open up and maybe Harilila Prabhu, if you can speak, and then Pradyumna Prabhu, you can speak, Mataji, if you can speak, I think that'll be good, if you like. So is that okay? Overall?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Harilila Prabhuji. Do you want to say something for?
Yes, Prabhuji. You go ahead and give some synopsis, and then we can check among the devotees.
Sure. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Prabhu. So just to continue on what I was saying before we saw the video, and then he gave a lot of details about how he came to ISKCON. So when he came to ISKCON, he basically joined his older brother. So he had a way to come straight to Mayapur and just be with his brother. So there's a comfort zone there. His brother is already there. He is already a devotee. And that's how two brothers, they were together. As far as Jananivas Prabhu is concerned, he was committed to be the Pujari of Radha Madhav, which he is still today. I remember one devotee, Prabhupada disciple. He lives in the Washington area. It's just his name is slipping my mind right now. He helped Prabhupada a lot. He's in a lot of the videos also. It's just the name is slipping now. He was the one who actually took Radha Madhav to Mayapur. So Radha Madhav, they were, I believe, in Gorakhpur or somewhere in UP, and then they took the train. And he said that I was sleeping in the berth. You know how in the Indian second class there's a berth? No, वो दूसरे जो प्रभु जी हैं जो हमारे आए थे, जो उन्होंने गौर निताय को लाए थे, वो you know who I'm talking about, जो आए थे हमारे प्रोग्राम में भी आए थे, उन्होंने निताय गौर सुंदर को जो लेके आए थे ऑल्टर पे, वो. So he was the one who was actually brought this Radha Madhav to Mayapur, and he said that actually Radha Madhav, they were sleeping with me in the berth, and that's how we went. They went to they went to Kolkata, then they took a train, they went to Navdeep, and then from there, from the boat, they actually finally they came on the other side, and that's how Radha Madhav came, and Jananivas Prabhu became their pujari. So Jananivas Prabhu was already there, and then Pankajanghri Prabhu came. And then when he came, he was assisting him. And Prabhupada also noticed that actually he was assisting him. So Prabhupada was very happy, and he encouraged that you just stick to your brother, just help him, and that's your seva. So that's how he was. He was always a younger brother, and he was always assisting Jananivas Prabhu. And then later, when Prabhupada's Samadhi was established in early 80s, then he became the main pujari there, and then he was taking care of Prabhupada in the Prabhupada Samadhi. Then later Nrsimhadev came around 1985-1986, and I'll just briefly describe that story, that how Nrsimhadev came and then how Pankajanghri Prabhu became the head pujari for Nrsimhadev. So this has been recorded by Atmat Tattva Prabhu and one more devotee. I was just reading that Mayapur was having a lot of difficulty, especially with dacoits and the local disturbances. They were there. If you remember in Leelamrita, Prabhupada started the worship of Nrsimhadev when there were troubles in a temple in a western city. I believe it was Los Angeles or somewhere here. There was difficulty, and Prabhupada said, let's start worshipping Nrsimhadev from now on. And that's how Namaste Nrsimhaya came. Namaste Nrsimhaya is basically two prayers combined into one. And Prabhupada gave us that prayer, and then we have been chanting that prayer always. So similar situation happened in Mayapur, that dacoits attacked, and somehow devotees were able to save. But in the process, one person was actually killed, and some of our devotees were arrested. And Bhavananda Maharaj at that time, Prabhu now, he was actually arrested also. And they managed to steal Radharani, I believe, from there. So there were some disturbances there. So then devotees were contemplating that what needs to be done to protect Mayapur. And then one devotee came up with the idea that let's bring Nrsimhadev, because once we have Nrsimhadev, then we can actually have protection with us. So he had some dream or some idea of how Nrsimhadev this look. And now he doesn't have much information for the scriptures, because these are mostly Western devotees, and even if they are Indian, they may not be so much well versed into the shastras which deities are described. So he just came up with a sketch of how the deity should look, and then everybody liked it, and then they gave Atmat Tattva Prabhu the assignment to go to South India and get the deities carved. When he went to the Sthapati, he found a Sthapati who was very well established, and he thought he could do it. So when he went to the Sthapati looked at it, and then he confirmed that it's just not an imaginary form, but actually it's a form which is mentioned in our scriptures. This particular form is a Ugra category, and this particular pose which you are asking is a Sthanu Narsingha, where he just come out of the pillar and is ready to attack Hiranyakashipu. This is the most ferocious form, and he said this form is not worshipped on this planet, and this form is not even worshipped in the Devaloka, in the heavenly planets. And there is one place which was mentioned somewhere near Mysore where that form was worshipped, and there was some discrepancy in the worship, and the whole place was destroyed. So he warned him that, do you want your project in Mayapur to be destroyed if you plan to worship this form of Nrsimhadev, and if you're not able to maintain that standard? So he said he would not do it. So Atmat Tattva Prabhu came back to Mayapur, but Mayapur devotees, the management and everybody, they were persistent that we would like to get that form, can you try again? So next time when he went, then the Sthapati was little more open. So then he said that, let me talk to my guru. So he went to the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, who was his guru at that time, and then he asked him. Guru told him, don't do it. your whole family will be ruined if you carve this form of Nrsimhadev. So then he came back and then he told him that no, I cannot do it because my guru has told me I cannot carve this form of Nrsimhadev. So then they were very disappointed, and then he came to check the third time, and by that time he changed his mind actually. So what happened was, in between, the Sankaracharya, he got the dream that that form should be allowed to be established in Mayapur. So then he wrote a personal letter to the Sthapati saying that for this form, for these devotees, you should go ahead and carve that form. So when the devotees heard that he is willing to carve, they were very happy. Radhapad Prabhu, that some of you may have heard about him, or some of you may even know him, depending on when you are connected with ISKCON. But he was a prominent devotee in Calcutta, very wealthy, and he, I believe, was instrumental in getting the primary deities of Radha Madhav, and also he paid for the Nrsimhadev deities. So he was very eager. So he gave the money right away, whatever 1.5 lakh at that time, or whatever the money was. He gave the money right away. And Sthapati said that I'll have it ready in 6 months. And then after 4 months, he went back, and then somehow it was not done. Then he said, I said 6 months after I get the stone. I have to look for a stone which has life, and he gave so many symptoms of the stone. So finally he got the stone and the deities were carved. There are many details here. Maybe I'll skip those. And then finally the deity was carved. And as soon as the deity was ready, he went on a vacation and left the deity in a thatched hut. And that hut went on fire without any electricity, without any source of any fire. It went completely on fire. So he was called back and immediately called the devotees in Mayapur that he is ready to go. He is already ready. Installation is not required. He is already burning the place. You please take him. So then very quickly they got all the permits, everything. Nrsimhadev came back to Mayapur, or came to Mayapur. And then finally he was established. So all this about Nrsimhadev. But Pankajanghri Prabhu, he was asked, are you willing to worship this form of Nrsimhadev? Because everybody knew that there cannot be any mistake in this worship. So someone has to really be sure that they are willing to worship this form. Because the Sthapati told them that it will ruin your place if you do not worship this form properly. Pankajanghri Prabhu agreed. And from that time on, he maintained a very high standard of worship. And actually after that, all those difficulties went away. So this is the contribution he has made to our society, that actually he has helped us bring protection to Mayapur by serving Nrsimhadev there. After that, Mayapur has grown so much. There's so much I can say about his personal life, like watching him in Mayapur, many pastimes he would tell. I attended few parikramas also when he was there. I'll just end with one thing which I had personal experience with. So this is when I was in my 20s and I was in Mayapur attending parikrama. Then one night he just came out at the altar, and then he was by himself, no much devotees around him. So I just approached him and I asked him few questions. What should be my future like? How should I think? I might get married. So what should be my mindset? Just general questions. I wanted to get his advice, so I have some idea of how I should be thinking. He gave me so much practical advice. Like one of the advice he said that don't try to work too hard. This is actually very intelligent if you think about it. He said don't work too hard. Just figure out how much money you need to maintain yourself. Figure out an occupation which pays that and is not too troublesome. And after you get that, then reduce the standard of your living. If you reduce the standard of your living, then what you think it should be, you will do some austerity, you will save money, and in due course of time, that money will be your asset in case you need in the future, either for health or old age or whatever. So he said it will set you both materially and spiritually on the right path, which actually I thought very, very, very good advice. He said don't try to work too hard just to maintain yourself. Just get by enough what you need. And many other things he told me. So I don't want to get into a lot of details there, but there's a lot of practical advice he was able to give. So personally also I'm very indebted to him, that I've always thought about him as a role model I can look up to. So with that, I think I'll conclude here. So Hari Lila Prabhu, would you like to go next? Is that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu,
Hare
please.
Krishna.
Thanks.
So actually, I do not have personal experience with him, but my experience is that when we see these two brothers, it is just like the darshan out of world experience that you get when you really see them. So even darshan, just like Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam, they like came from the Vaikuntha. So in that, and the other thing that I'm attracted is that which I've come across one of the past time. Some of you might know, but it is very good to know about it. So I will just read that pastgram that I come across, and I like it very much when I read it. So Jananivas Prabhu heard that if you put Radha Madhava's counsel up to your ear, you can hear the spiritual world. So one day he put the counsel up to his ear and heard young girls laughing. With great excitement, Jananivas immediately went to tell his twin brother Pankajanghri. Pankajanghri Prabhu also came to Radha Madhava's altar and tentatively put the counsel up to his ear. He heard an elephant loudly trumpet his trunk. It was so jarring that he immediately cleaned the conchal, put it down as fast as he could, and ran off the altar. So, and one another pastime is like Saligram is missing. Saligram Shila went missing. Did he roll off a pujari's tray and go into a drawer? Was he in some obscure corner on the altar? None of the pujaris could find Saligram anywhere. He was just gone. Pankajanghri Prabhu sat down to think. Maybe a pujari did not misplace Saligram. Maybe he went somewhere on his own accord. He thought, where would Saligram like to go on a hot summer day? Saligram Sila comes from the Mandakini river in the Himalayas, where it is quite cold. Pankajagri Prabhu thought maybe Saligram went to cool off. So he went to the kitchen and looked in the walk-in freezer. Where would Saligram hide out in the freezer? Pankajagri opened a box of mango ice cream, and there sat Saligram Shila in the box of mango ice cream. What an interesting experience. Saligram Shila ki jai. So this is when I read it, I liked it very much. So I thought I would like to share with you. Thank you very much. Now we will give a chance to other devotees also who are on the call, and they can volunteer themselves or raise their hand. So we can call them one by one. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhu.
Pradyumna Prabhu, could you please say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Nanda Kumar Prabhu. Well, I don't have any experience, but when I go to the Mayapur, I used to see them, both brother, and especially Pankaj Prabhu over there at the Narsingadev. And when we have something to offer, like a Tulsi garland or 1,000 Tulsi leaves for the Aarti or Narsinga Kavach, or some ceremony, he used to taking care of us. We are all going to miss him. That's I can say, I did not have more further experience, but Nand Kumar Prabhu has explained very, very detailed, because you are with the Mayapur connected all the time, and you have more experience, and you have excellently explained all those pastime. Very good, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Anybody else wants to share anything?
Kalandi Mataji, you want to say something, please unmute yourself. Or anybody, Prabhujis or Matajis want to say something, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, this is Nimai Sundari. May I say something?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I just heard you, I don't know who said that, but somebody mentioned that just the darshan of them makes them feel good. And I feel now the first time I'm watching both brothers saying about themselves, and I am thinking, don't you all feel that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu in a together form? That's just my feeling, and I'm just putting it out for others to think about. That's all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
They are certainly devotees of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. They are actually associates of them from what Prabhupada indicated for some of the devotees. And that the way they live their life, you can clearly say that they belong to the family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For sure. No doubt.
That's how I feel. Yes, I'm seeing them together in a life form today on the earth. It's them who have taken this form for us to have established stronger connection and stronger attraction for the personalities of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu.
So just one thing to say here, that if you are saying that they are actually Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, is that what you are saying?
Not exactly,
Okay.
but that's the feeling I'm getting, just like I would see their picture. Seeing them gives me that joy.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. 100%. Yes. Actually, we can see the life of Lord Chaitanya through them. That when we see them, then we get faith that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are the most merciful. Because the way they live their life, they're so kind, so gentle, never aggressive. You know, like there's a verse that says, Dhira Dhira Jana Priya 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 Karao. To a Dhira and to a Adhira, to a gentle person, to a ruffian, they both like them. Jana Priya. They are lovable by both a gentle person and a lovable person. And you can see in their personality, because in our ISKCON society, we have a huge society. And there are many personalities in ISKCON. I mean, that would be true any society. So we have some strong personalities, some are rough, some are gentle. That's the human nature. And we have all kinds of humans in our society. But everybody loved them. So when it says Dhira Adhira Jana Priya Priya Karau, so we can see that actually in their life that they are very attractive. There's also one that says Darshane Pavitra Karo Ye Tumhara Guna. Just by your darshan you make me purified. Hari Sthane Pradet. E Baro Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosai. That song where it says that Darshana Pavitra Karo Ye Tumhara Guna. So that's actually, they are like that. So I think if anybody has anything to say, we can continue. But I wanted to end this program with a Jay and Nilo Premadhanna. Just a song, just to glorify them.
Just one thing before you close, Prabhuji.
Sure.
If I can share a revelation of Srila Prabhupada about Pankajanghri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada revealing in this conversation the transcendental position of Pankajanghri and Jananivas Prabhu. So my Gurudev Prabhupada, just like conversation between them. So my Gurudev said, these two pujaris, the two brothers, Pankajanghri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu, Prabhupada says, they are real. Then my Guru Maharaj commented, they look like they are out of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. They appear as two persons right out of that book. Prabhupada says, yes, very good boys. Then my Guru Maharaj says, Vaikuntha men. And Prabhupada says, oh yes, they do not know except the deity. Very good boys. And then my Guru Maharaj said, perfect team of brothers. And Prabhupada says, oh yes, therefore Krishna has brought them here in Mayapur. Previously, they were advanced. All of you. You are simply born because the mission was to be started. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Yes, this is what I was reading and I was saying earlier from this only. You read the whole thing, which is nice. So your Guru Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj?
Yes.
Okay. That's nice. Yes.
I have one more comment. Can I?
Sure. Raga, get ready.
I am not sure I'm really asking a question or a confirmation that long time back, Guru Priya Mataji once was relating to me that the devotees, I think it was Mayapur temple or somewhere, I don't remember, that they were asked to go out for preaching. And they said, how can we go? We have to dress the deities and we are busy day and night, day after, we can't. As soon as they said, Prabhupada told them, look, they are coming. And these two brothers came right there to take the job over so that the already devotees who were not complaining, but who are saying we can't go out preaching. And Prabhupada says, here they have come, now you go preaching. Am I relating the same thing for these two brothers or was it somebody else?
I've not heard this one before, but I would not be surprised if Prabhupada was talking about these brothers because they are the ones who have been taking Radha Madhav care from the beginning.
Yes, yeah, this must be this. Guru Priya Mataji had told me at that time it seemed like a fantasy movie or scene, but she says as soon as they said, and these two brothers came from, I think she said from England, and they took over. And then Prabhu said, see, you have no excuse now. Go out and preach. They will take care of them. And so many years have passed between this conversation and today's incident that I seem like, what? Isn't the same? Are these not the same people? So I mean, I'm just having goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, must be them. Thank you for sharing this. So we have Yashoda Nandan Madhaprabhu raising hand. Was that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I wanted to glorify them because I had some interaction with both of them. I had seen long time back, a few years back, like devotees were getting some earrings or something for Nrsimhadev, and then they would hand it over to him on the altar. So I had that desire. So I said, next time when I visit, I will also do something like that. So then whenever I used to visit Mayapur Dham, so I would just buy some earrings for Lord Nrsimhadev, and then I would just give it on the altar. And then he was so merciful that next day morning I would see the Lord wearing those earrings. So he was very, very merciful. And then I would make necklaces and then hand it over to him, and then he would just let the Lord wear it. And then we would take some bhoga also. So he is very merciful. Whatever you take, and he will just offer it to the Lord. So he just engages you. He was very, very, very gentle and very merciful, I would say. So he was really, we miss him. And the last time we saw him was like end of April. And we just went to see him, and I just gave him some jewelry. And then he gave us some maha of Lord Nrsimhadev and some, he said, oh, don't go. You have to take Mahaprasadam. Wait here. And then he went inside He used to stay, both of them used to stay on top of Panchatattva altar. So then he got some halwa and he said, please have this. This is from the Radha Madhav's Maha. So, and then he gave a set of earrings of Lord Nrsingadev as Maha to us. So very, very nice. Thank you, Prabhu, for arranging it.
No,
So we had, we gave some my Prabhu stitched one outfit for Lord Nrsingadev, and then he was so happy, and he said, "You can stitch more," and then they offered it also. He's very, very merciful. We are both very indebted to both of them. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you, Prabhu, for arranging this. This is so nice.
Yeah, thank you. So this was right before he got the COVID when you saw him?
Yes, it was just 2 days before.
Wow.
So, and he had asked Prabhu to come and see him, but then next day we got the news he has COVID, so we couldn't go. But Prabhu went and met Jananiva's Prabhu. So, yeah.
This is heavy to see him healthy and then 3 weeks later he's not there.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone like him.
It was very sad. Yeah, it was very sad.
Sure.
Very sad. Yeah, we are in Mayapur, so we went. Yeah, it was very hard. We devotees were crying like anything. Like brahmacharis were very, very heartbroken. Pujaris of Nrsingadev. Oh, it was very sad to see them. It was like a father to them, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He was a father figure for them.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So I think it's 9:35. So we will do Jayanilo Premadhana and then after that we can conclude. Is that okay? Okay. So let me just, we'll have this, our kids, they will sing. They're ready to sing, so I'll just put them on. So let me. Okay, Babu. And then. Okay. So just move this so I can put the camera front. Move further away. So. Yeah, move further away. And move this also.
Shri Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachu कामोरा भटा जुगा कहा कबीरा एक काले कोठा गेला गोरा नटरा वर्षन कुटीवो माता अनले पशिवो गौरंगा गुनेरा निधि कोथा गेले प्रभो संगीरा संगे जे कोइलो बिला से संगना पाया कांदे नरोत्तम जय अनिलो प्रेमाधना करुणा नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपु रक्षा शरण जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय
जय
जय हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि
सिंहदेव की जय, राज की जय।
जय।
Hare Krishna Prabhu, nice kirtan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। खूब खूब आभार प्रभु जी, आप आए हमारे पार्थसारथी फाउंडेशन में और वृंदावन प्रभु का ग्लोरिफिकेशन हुआ। बहुत अच्छा प्रसंग। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very inspiring.
Thank you.
Patitana.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
जय कुमार कृष्णदास जी की जय।